A bumpy ride, and we should all be there to cushion that bumpy ride for the person who helped show us the route. But if we could strive to be half as brave, half as determined as tonight's speaker, and perhaps we could change the course of history the way he did on September 11th. A man of strength, man of hope, and the last man out of the World Trade Center. Please give a warm welcome to someone who exemplifies the word hero, Mr. William Rodriguez. Kick ass.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. I feel like a coffee cake when they put the syrup on top. My goodness. I'm so glad, I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored to be introduced by one of my heroes. It doesn't happen every day, really. And I grew up watching you. You're not that old. You're not that old.
You played Rossi, right?
No, actually, I play Ricky Ricardo. Do you understand my accent? Do I look like Ricky? You have some explaining to do. That's what I say to the White House. Well, number one, welcome. Welcome for being here. Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me on the top? Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you to KPFK for the effort of putting this together. I want to say thank you to C-SPAN for having the guts to listen to the families of survivors and those affected by 9/11. I'm going to move to the front here. Let me just move a little to the front so we can lower the feedback. And they told me I have to stay within my boundaries. I usually, if you've seen the presentation before, I like to talk to the people, get close to the people, but because we have boundaries, I won't be able to do that. But anyway, my name is William Rodriguez. I am a person that before 9/11, I was a janitor on the towers. I worked in the building for 20 years. 20 years cleaning the stairwells of the North Tower. Now, have you ever cleaned 110 floors of stairwells? It's bad! It's really bad. It's not easy. Try doing 25 stairwells, 25 floors. It's really difficult. It's not easy. But that was my job. But incredible was that God really prepares you for things in life. And I'm telling you this because I was agnostic. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything before 9/11, honestly. I was like, oh, I'm spiritualistic. But in reality, God was preparing me with tools for 20 years. The first 10 years at the World Trade Center, I cleaned the office of the then governor of New York, Mario Cuomo. And I have to be the person with somebody else that set up all the chairs on all the press conferences. And I have to set up the podium, put the water for the governor, and I have to stay there in case of any accident or anything that had to be cleaned. And then also I have to be the person that have to be on the legislation meetings at the office. And have you seen politics and legislations are really boring, really boring. But I have to be the person there that gave coffee, bagels, and donuts to the legislators. Now, I said that God has a very strange sense of humor. Huh. Because he was giving me the tools that I was going to use after 9/11. Because again, then I learned from the office how to set up a press conference, what a soundbite was, argumentation and debate, everything, because I lived through it for 10 years. And after 9/11, when I became an activist, I just used all those tools that were presented divinely by God to me. And that's what I did. So just goes to prepare you in different levels of life. Now, I'm going to put a slideshow. Let me just set it up for you here. And let me just go over here, if you give me a second. I just did we can, because we are actually filming for The Nation right now. So basically, well, I will take you through the slide. I just came from a tour through Europe. This is my 5th tour through Europe. I call this one the Gravy Tour, because I was a guy that started attacking me on the internet and attacking the victims and survivors of 9/11, that I sent the attack to everybody and every family member on my list, and they sent it to other people, and then I started getting invitations from all over the world. So we turned a negative into a positive. Now, when we did that, we went all over UK for a month and a half, and we presented basically every single city. I saw more of the British country than the British people. That's Liverpool. I met somebody from Liverpool over here. Grange. Grange was very interesting because the hotel that invited us over there put out a press release after they invited me that said that they were disinviting me, but they never sent that to me. They sent it to the newspaper. And it said 9/11 hero banned from hotel. And I said, what's going on here? So I called the newspaper and said, oh, it was put out by the hotel. But I didn't do anything. And I went with the presentation. And just to show you how you turn a negative into a positive, it was the biggest audience we ever had because it was packed. So something wrong, you can turn it into something right. So you have to learn that about activism. And that's what happened with Grange. From there was other presentation, radio coverage from BBC on every city, television, meeting with George Galloway, who was a member of parliament. You know the situation with George Galloway was the one that was brought at the Senate hearing because of the Oil for Food program, and he basically embarrassed the senator. UK colleges, presentations in Paris. Now, this was in Malaysia last year. I went to Malaysia, and as you know, Malaysia is a Muslim country, Islamic. How many knew that? When I got invited was to speak at the International Islamic Conference, and I get a phone call. Somebody saying that he was from the State Department. Mr. Rodriguez, don't go to Malaysia. I said, why not? They're going to kill you there. Me? Why? Because you are a survivor of 9/11. You represent the victims of 9/11, and they're Muslims. Well, they never told me that Malaysia was, number one of the biggest supporters of the United States. Number two, that it was a moderate country. Moderate country. You have Christians, you have Buddhists, you have every single religion over there. So I decided to go anywhere. I went there, and I must tell you, I feel so embarrassed to tell you this, because when I went to Malaysia, already predisposed by the negativity of going over there, I was treated with more love, more respect, more attention, and more dignity by those Muslim people over there than I did by my own government. Eye-opener. Eye-opener. You see, it was important to go over there because it was a historical event by itself, because here is the last survivor of the North Tower going to a Muslim country to talk about 9/11.